I just want all of you to know, in this section, I'm going to pay more attention to you because I had a couple people come up to me and say, you haven't paid much attention to us in this area. So I want you to know, I want to pay attention because every one of you is very important to me. So I just wanted you to know, you guys, if you felt ignored, because we all like eye contact, don't we? So I'm going to do my best to make eye contact with all of you in this section too. It's a big room, it's a real challenge, but I'll do it. Anyway, let's get into now, can you hear me okay, everybody? Let's get into the headline words. These are the words through a lot of tests have proven to be the most effective words in English and almost without exception in every language. The first one, announcing. Announcing the best seminar ever put together for entrepreneurs. Announcing. Would that get your attention? Sure. Second, secrets of. Secrets of direct marketing as it applies to the internet. Secrets of direct marketing. New ideas in marketing your product. Isn't this equipment fantastic? I mean, the Hollywood studios don't have better. This is fantastic. Now is the time to make some changes in your life. Now. Amazing new way to contact consumers cost effectively. Amazing. Facts, F-A-C-T-S, facts you should know about water. Facts you should know about health. Facts you should know about living longer, of anti-aging. Facts you should know about all the subjects that you guys are involved with. Breakthrough, medical breakthrough, food breakthrough, supplement breakthrough. Breakthrough is a very powerful word. At last, one of my letters I'm going to show you in a little while, the first sentence is just critical, whether you're doing a copy for the internet, whether you're doing a sales letter, whether you're doing a space ad. The first sentence is almost as important as the headline. Why is that? What's the purpose of the first sentence? To get people to read the second sentence. And what's the purpose of the second sentence? Get people to read the third sentence and so forth. The first sentence you'll see in this sales letter is, at last, there is an answer to cancer. Somebody came up to me in the break and he told me, unfortunately, his dear wife has cancer. And he was asking me for some ideas, which I'll comment about a little bit more. In fact, that sales letter deals with that topic. Advice to entrepreneurs who want to be more successful. Advice to parents who want to have better communications with their children. Advice to women who want to be treated equally. Advice to women who want to look younger and more beautiful. Advice to men who want to look sexier, more handsome, more virile, like you. The truth of marketing on the internet. The truth of your particular topic. The truth of the chiropractic, the value of chiropractic manipulation. The truth of. Protect. One of my big headlines, I don't think it's in this batch. Protect your corporation's tax shelter status. One of my big ads, successful ads. Life. This is a seminar that can change your life. Is that true or not? What do you think? You think this seminar can change your life? You think a few words can change your life? What do you think? You know, a few words can make you laugh, can make you cry, can make you march for peace, can make you go to war and can make you buy. Now, today we're going to focus on the latter, aren't we? But a few words can change your life. A few words have changed my life. There's a great book by the daughter of Danny Thomas, who the title is something like The Right Words at the Right Time. Has anybody read this book? I highly recommend it. But a few words, it shows how celebrities, successful people, a few words at the right moment change their lives. One of them I remember so vividly is Paul McCartney, your countryman, Sir Paul McCartney. When he was 23 years old, his mother had passed away when he was 13. And in the middle of the night, Paul McCartney was very troubled that evening, and he went to sleep. And in his dream, he had a dream, his mother came to him, and she said, "Paul, let it be." And he jumped out of bed, and in 20 minutes he wrote, "When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be." 20 minutes he wrote what arguably is, in a lot of people's estimations, the best song ever written. Is that cool? The right words at the right time. That just fascinates me. Here is the answer to your marketing dilemma. Here is the answer. Here brings people's attention to the copy. Discover the secrets of marketing with little or no risk. Does that interest you? Discover the secrets of marketing with little or no risk. Do you? I always think of the classic ad. I didn't write it. It was written like 75 years ago. The ad is, "Do you make these mistakes in English?" You ever see that ad? It's in a lot of books that study advertising. Do you? Do you make these mistakes in French? I mean, do you make these mistakes in driving? Do you make these mistakes in marketing? You see how you can use phrases? See, ideas are not copyrightable. You can use ideas of great ads. And in fact, that's one of the uses of your workbook. I'm going to go over how to use the workbook more effectively. But in the workbook, I've assembled 127 of the most powerful headlines that have ever been written. In all modesty, I must say I've written 11 of them. But others have written the other. And it's a good thing when you're writing copy to look at ads that have been successful, headlines that have been successful, and use those headlines as to guide you toward your headlines. And by the way, when you write a fantastic headline, very often the copy almost writes itself. The big problem is that big idea. You see, the big idea, the big headline, and that's why I'm focusing on it today, because if you come away with nothing else from this seminar of how to write powerful headlines, your future is golden. If you come away with nothing more than that. Because you have a lot of information, right? Can you put it all to use? What do you think? Can you put everything to use? Probably not. You have to make choices. But one thing that no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, whether you're using electronic marketing, whether you're using print ads, whether you're using classified ads, whether you're using sales letters, you have to learn how to write copy. And the biggest thing is, or hire the best copywriters you can afford. The biggest thing you must do, the biggest hurdle is writing headlines. That's why I'm focusing on it. Bargains. One of my big winners, stock market bargains. Stock market bargains. By the way, in my 3- and 4-day seminars, what I show ads for all of these headlines, and we look at those ads, and by the way, I have one complaint in my 3- or 4-day seminar, and they all were with a money-back guarantee. The complaint is, the seminar's too short. You think in 4 days you get saturated, and I'm a lot of times on a stage from 8 o'clock in the morning till 11 or 12 o'clock at night. You think you had a long day yesterday. Now you try to keep your energy level up all those hours as a listener. Imagine what it's like as a speaker. How many think seminars are easy to do? Raise your hand. Nobody. Seminars are not easy. He thinks it's easy. One person out of 2,500 people, 2,600, I understand. Thinks it's easy. How about that? Okay. Yes, the most underused word in copy is yes. You'll see a lot of my order forms start out with, yes, Ted, I can't wait another minute. Send me, please send me, and deliver it to the golf course behind my house, my own private Lear jet. Yes, because what's the first word you learn when you're a little baby? What's the first word you learn? No. Do you like the word no? Do you like to hear the word no? Do you men like to hear the word no from women? Do you women like to hear the word no from men? Nobody likes to use the word no. Get rid of it. Don't use it. Use yes. Love. You'll love the way you'll feel when you try this drink. You'll love the way you feel when you try this supplement. You'll love the way you feel when you walk for an hour a day. You'll love the way you feel when you do this exercise. You'll love the way you feel when you bank your first £1 million. My accountant told me I was a millionaire at age 21, my first business. I could hardly meet my payroll. I said, how can I be a millionaire? I can't even meet my payroll. He said, well, you're a millionaire on paper, whatever that means. You're a millionaire on paper. I said, I don't want to be a millionaire. I felt like a millionaire when I had my first $1 million in the bank when I was like 23, 24. Then I felt like a millionaire. And I recommend to all of you, if you're not incorporated now, get incorporated. Set up a corporation. I see you probably have been talking about incorporating. Incorporate yourself and set up the very best deferred compensation plan you can for yourself and your employees, with you as the biggest beneficiary because you deserve it, and bank at least 10 to 15% of your income every month, because pay yourself first. And that can be a key to your future wealth and retirement. As you start earning money, start putting money away. Don't spend it. The temptation for everybody is you start making money and you start spending it. I know too many people that are good marketers and they have gone through. One of them who talks, who doesn't make any secret of it, he says it publicly, so I don't mind sharing it with you, it's not a secret, is a guy by the name of Gary Halbert in the US. He has made and lost so many fortunes, it's unbelievable. He sold half of his company for $11 million, and less than a year he had gone through the $11 million flat broke because he never learned anything about financial literacy. He gets embarrassed when he comes to my seminar because I talk about financial literacy and he doesn't know anything about it because he just knows how to make money and spend money. But it's hard to do all your life. You have a few health problems or something, it's not as easy when you're, let's say, 60 as you is when you're 20, or not 20, but 30, say, or 35 or 40. So pay yourself first, bank your money, very important. Hate. I use this a lot. Don't hate yourself for missing out. Don't hate yourself. Love and hate are very powerful emotions. Do you think people make decisions emotionally or rationally? What do you think? Logically? Emotionally. But we all tell everybody we did it logically. When you buy that new Porsche and you're driving it around and people say, why did you buy the Porsche? They say, well, it's a very safe car. It gets good gas mileage. But the real reason you buy it is because you feel younger, sexier, that you like the smell of that leather. You like the sound, the roar of the engine. Isn't that why you buy it? Sure. It's emotional, but you justify everything rationally, logically. So I'm going to show you, I don't have time to get into a lot of the in-depth emotions, but what I do, I'm a marketer. I'm interested in getting people to respond emotionally, but I'm going to show you the key behind emotional marketing before we're through today, so that you can market things more emotionally and get better responses. Would you like that? You're going to have a much better, more fun life as well. How much? How much is one good idea at a seminar worth? How much? How much is it worth to you? 100,000, 10,000, a million? How much? You tell me. 1 million. It depends on how you apply the information. The information is here. All you've got to do is apply it. How would you solve this marketing dilemma? How would you solve this marketing dilemma? You see how these words, you want to know more, right? It causes you to want to know more. And the purpose of the headline is to do what? Stop the person long enough to read what? The first sentence. And what's the purpose of the first sentence? Read the second sentence. And that's how you get people into the copy and through the copy. This idea can change your business. This idea, this. Only, you know, one of the ads I showed you quickly, only way left for the little guy to get rich, remember? Only. Only is a powerful word. Sale. 50% off sale. Would that get your attention? Designer clothes for 50% off sale. Would that get your attention? Designer clothes. Doesn't everybody want to buy designer clothes for 50% off? Free. The most powerful word in any language, every language is free. Free gifts, free bonuses for taking action right now. Doesn't it get your attention? Free gifts. Order the Learjet today and we'll send you a free Mont Blanc pen. You. This is a very important word in copy, you, because what I do with beginner copywriters is a lot of times they'll have in the copy, most often, is a lot of things about I and we and me. And nobody cares about you when you're writing that way. They don't care about you. They only care about themselves. What's in it for me? So you've got to use the word. If all you do is change the me and I words to you words, you're going to improve the power of your copy because it focuses the person's attention on themselves, which is where it ought to be, not on you. How to. Now, when you run out of 1 million, you try headlines, and I write headlines. Most copywriters, here's what they do. They write the copy first, and after they write the headline. That's bass-backwards. You got to write the headline first. This is what I do. But I write 200 headlines, 150 headlines, 217 headlines, and I'm going to get into the details of exactly how I do that before I choose the headline, before I write a word of copy. Sequence, selling, and selling is like seduction. That got your attention. Selling is like seduction. It's a sequential process. Sequential. You have to get the person that you're meeting, and if you're interested in someone socially and you meet them for the first time, you don't say to them, "Hello, I'm Ted Nicholas. Would you like to go away for the weekend with me?" She says, "Yes." You're not supposed to say yes. I'm kidding. In other words, you don't get involved with anyone on a personal basis until you know them and you're just sure that you want to spend more time with them. Selling is the same kind of it's sequential. So you have to get into a sequential kind of, and I'm going to show you more about the sequence of copy in a few moments. Now, there's 7,000 books in America right now, in books in print, that start with the words how to. Why do you think? Why do you think? Number one, they sell. The books sell. So somebody showed me during the break, they said, "Look, what do you think of this title for my book?" And here's my test for the title of any book. A book title, a product title for any one of the products you sell, whether it's a tape or a book, is like a headline for the book. Now, do you think most book titles are exciting or boring? What do you think? Boring, man. Really boring. And that's why people hire people like me. They spend as much as $65,000 to create a title for a book because it's so important. Harvey Mackay, who's written a lot of books in bestsellers in America, he pays $65,000 to have a book title. But he has all these cool titles, like how do you say something to a naked man? All these titles that he had. Point is, titles are critical. A book cannot sell, whether it's direct mail or in bookstores. I like my books sell in bookstores by direct mail, every which way known, on the internet, because the title, one of the reasons is the title. My book's How to Turn Words into Money. I mentioned that title, people want the book, because the book, it's the biggest benefit of the book. If the book said something like an intellectual title like Word Mastery, would be like what a lot of left-brain authors would, word mastery. Who wants to read word mastery? So what? Where's the benefit? You see what I'm saying? So I told a gentleman that showed me his book title, wait till my session today before you ask me about a book title, because it's like a headline for the book. And a lot of the products that I see you guys have, some of the titles are good, some of them are, I think if you think about it, are pretty weak. They're left-brainish. See, my test is, if your product title were an article in a magazine or newspaper, and that were the headline, would anybody read it? If the answer is no, forget about it. You're wasting your time. You've spent 2 years or 1 year or 6 months or 3 months, however long it is to create the product, and your title sucks. Doesn't work. It won't sell. You've got to have a great title. So use these headline concepts for your titles as well, for the product titles as well. In Green Power, the company I mentioned, the fastest growing company in Europe, I not only write every word of copy, I create every title for every product that we sell, because the title is so important. Now, most health companies, do you think they have a marketing hat on when they create titles for their products? No, they've got some scientist there. He says, well, what we should call it is this left brain thing that's meaningful to the scientist, but the consumer could care less. So this is how you want to create your titles, to be like powerful magnets for people who might be interested in your subject. Now, when I wrote my first book, How to Form Your Own Corporation Without a Lawyer for Under $75, out of 250 titles, that was the longest one. And you know what my friends all told me? It's too long, Ted. But were my friends right or not? It's the best-selling book in history on that topic in America. First best-selling book. The title sells it because it's the benefit of the book, but it's not an intellectual type of title. You know, an intellectual left-brain title would be something more like the Encyclopedia of Corporation Law. God, is that boring or not? I mean, that's what some lawyer would, I mean, with all due respect, the gentleman's a lawyer, but he said he's a lawyer, but he wants to live in Switzerland and he wants to be a marketer. That's my kind of lawyer, you know? Okay. Now, here's the key. Benefits to the customers are the real sales hot buttons for your products. Benefits. 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 And most copies written without a strong emphasis on the benefits. Benefits answer the question, so what? For example, how to form your own corporation, so what? Without a lawyer for under $75. You see the difference? You see that one is how to form your own corporation, so what? What's the big deal about that? But without a lawyer for under $75, that gives you the so what, the answer. This is how your benefits have to be. And I'm going to show you exactly how I do the benefit. To prepare great headlines and copy and sell your product, you must first identify benefits and features. Features and benefits. And what are features? Features are descriptive facts about your product which help build credibility. For example, this massive book weighs 7 pounds. It has 800 pages in it, and it has 175 illustrations by the best graphic artists in the United Kingdom. Those are features. They're arguably, some of them are on the border between features and benefits, but they're features. It gives you the feeling when you're reading that copy that that publisher knows what they're doing. Builds credibility, doesn't it? But why do people buy the book? Because it has 175, because of it? No. They buy the book because of what they're going to get out of it, what benefits they're going to get out of it that answer the so what question. Now, the best way to capture benefits, let's use a book as an example, but it can be any product. Who's got a book? Any book? Thank you. Book called Inspiration. What I do is when I sit down, whether I've written the book or some other author has written the book, here's my process. I study the product, and I have 3x5 cards. Page 1, I put one benefit. Using these headline words, 17 words or less if possible, and I'm writing down benefits on page 1. Maybe on page 1 I have one benefit. Page 2, no benefits. Page 3, 3 benefits. Page 4, 1 benefit. Page 5, 2 benefits. You got it? This is how at the end of the book, I may have 100, 150, depends on the thickness of the book. This is quite a thin book, but I would have a large number of benefits when I go through that process. And those 3x5 cards give me two things. One, a very good chance that among those benefits, I'll find the headline concept. The headline concept. I'm going to show you the cancer book, How to Fight Cancer and Win. It was a failed book that I turned into a national bestseller by the sales letter that I wrote. And where did I find the headline? On page 126 or so. And the headline is, How 2 Natural Foods Can Help You Prevent and Even Cure Cancer. Would that get your attention or not? And then the subheadline is something like, 7-time Nobel Prize winning doctor, to build credibility, right? Remember, credibility is the big hurdle we all have. 7-time Nobel Prize winning doctor, her name is Dr. Joanna Budwig, is the one that discovered the power of these two foods, she's a well-known doctor in Germany, was not well-known in the US, but now she's a lot better known because millions and millions of these sales letters have gone out. And the publisher now is retired. That's, by the way, occupational hazard for me. I write sales letters for people and they retire. They don't always retire because, listen, don't let anybody kid you. No copywriter, including me, is 100% bats 1,000. Impossible. Don't let anybody kid you that everything that I've ever written is 100% successful. I have a huge, big batting average. Now, my friend Joe Sugarman, who's reputed to be one of the top 5 copywriters in America the last 50 years, he's happy if 1 out of 10 of his sales letters or ads or emails is successful, because he makes a fortune on the 10th one that is successful. See what I mean? He tests small and rolls out big, like I do. But my average is, I'm happy to say, is about 4 out of 10. That means 6 out of 10 is not successful, so I just go next. I change the headline. In other words, if you think you're going to come to a seminar, do your first headline and do your first sale and be successful for the rest of your life, that's not a good way to look at it. Just look, if it doesn't work the first time, you say next and write another ad. Follow me? And if you hire a copywriter, expect that some of them are going to work and some of them are not going to work. That's how the world is. The best copywriters in the world do not bat 1,000. It wouldn't be any fun if you did. I would hate to bat 1,000. God, life would be so incredibly boring, and I'm telling you, it's not boring for me. But I mean, it's nice to work on your skills and just get better and better. Now, sometimes I've had people come to my seminar, they write one headline, and their sales go through the roof, and they make a fortune, but it's not something you want to count on happening, because I don't like you to be disappointed. I'd rather you be more realistic about the process. Thank you for the book. That's how I do it with a book. I do the same thing if I'm going to market a table, TV stand, overhead projector, that boom thing, whatever you call it, the camera thing, because what I do is I study the product from the buyer's point of view. If I were going to market this by direct mail, first of all, I would do two things. So first thing I would do is find out who buys this kind of a product, probably film production companies, professional seminar companies, and others, and I would create a prospect list. You have to have a list of people to sell this to, do you not? So I would create a list, and I would then have something on the internet about attracting people to this kind of a product, perhaps with a free report, to help more people become interested in just getting information free about the product. Then I would write my sales letter or ad, probably a sales letter, probably an email if I were doing it on the internet, and to see if I could, and then I would write about the benefits of the product. Would be something like how mobile it is, and how the quality of the photographs, how a person with all respect, maybe without a great deal of experience, without having 47 years of experience, that a person could be trained on it perhaps, I don't know, in 30 days or in 2 weeks, that a person with reasonable training could learn how to use it, and how I would then look at the output of the product and look at the quality of the finished film and what that's like, and how you can zero in on a person's face and the audience and all those beautiful things, and how you're not lifting it. I mean, you don't have to be a bodybuilder in order to use it, and all those cool things, and how you can roll it around on those rubber tires, and how the ball bearings, and it's cool, and it's soft and quiet, and all the things that I would study and make a list of all those things. That would be in my copy. So that when you read my letter, my God, you would at least want a demonstration of it, right? Free demonstration. No obligation at all. Money back guarantee. Try it in your studio for 2 months at our risk, not yours, and see if it doesn't change the way that you do filming. You see, this is how you've got to excite people, and I'm big on guarantees. Always guarantee your product. Whatever you're selling, guarantee it, because your sales will go up. Guarantee what you're selling. Unconditional guarantee. If you don't like it, return it within 30 days. We don't want your money unless you're 100% thrilled with the product. Is that cool? So if you had any interest in this kind of a product, that would be the kind of copy that would entice you to come in and try it. And that's how I go about it. And a lot of times, I'll tell you more about the way I approach two-step programs. Okay. Now, the obvious benefits. Now we're going to get to a real juicy part. This is going to blow you away. The real key to the wealth of most people who are wealthy marketers is to find the obvious benefits. But here's the problem with obvious benefits. They're not obvious until you identify them. When I go in and study a company and I look at their products and they ask me to do what I call a needs analysis. I look at what they're doing and I look at their products and I find out that the thing that's most obvious to me about their product, they're not using in their marketing at all. So I write a headline and they say, Ted, you walk on water, that's brilliant. And it's not that I walk on water. Sometimes when you're so close to the product, it's hard for you to identify. Why didn't we think of that? Because it's so obvious once you identify it. That's what an obvious benefit, how an obvious benefit can come across. So the obvious benefits can be your key to wealth. And the obvious benefit are the very biggest benefit that the consumer gets from that product. That's good copy when you can do that, when you learn how to do that. And you'll do it with practice. But I've developed a technique which can even be more powerful than the obvious benefit technique, and I call it the hidden benefit. See, every product has obvious benefits, and every product has hidden benefits. And I'm going to show you some examples of the hidden benefit. And a hidden benefit can even be more powerful than an obvious benefit. And I'll show you how I get the hidden benefit. The hidden benefit technique does not arise from examining the product. Here's how I get it. Ask yourself this question. It's a little bit long, so I'll go over it a couple times, but it's critical. If I had unlimited, and these are the missing words, unlimited godlike powers, and could grant my prospect the biggest benefit I can imagine, what would that be? Every one of you, with anything you're marketing or thinking about marketing, can come up with a hidden benefit. And I'll show you some examples and point them out to you now. Just a few examples, pieces of copy that is hugely successful with a hidden benefit technique. You all got that? You all got that? You remember I showed you this ad before? Sold 200,000 copies of my book on incorporating. It's The Ultimate Tax Shelter. Now, there is not a single word about an ultimate tax shelter in that book. Not a word. But the entrepreneur, one of the reasons they incorporate in America, in the UK, in Switzerland, is to reduce taxes, isn't it? And the ultimate tax shelter for an entrepreneur often can be a corporation. So you see the difference. It's the benefit of the corporation. It's not what the book is about. You with me there? You read that book, 109 pages, you won't find a single sentence about the ultimate tax shelter. That's the marketing, because what you're doing is you're doing the old salesman's secret. You're selling the sizzle and delivering the steak. The book is the steak. This is the sizzle. So, sell the sizzle. Always sell the sizzle. And by the way, the best definition of copywriting, we're talking about copywriting, that's ever been identified was done in 1920 by a copywriter by the name of John Kennedy, not the late president of the United States, but a copywriter by the name of John Kennedy. And he said, copywriting is salesmanship in print. It's the best definition I know of copywriting. All of you, if you think you can be great, successful, multimillionaire marketers, you can't do it unless you learn how to market in print. Does that make sense? You got to market in print. So all those old lessons that we all learned, selling is bad, and people that sell are hucksters, and all the stupid things people say. And who has some of the biggest incomes in the UK and in America? Salespeople that are good. And you as a direct marketer, if you're good in direct marketing, you're going to have an income that's going to be everything you want. But you've got to learn it's salesmanship in print. Okay, that's one example. Second example, the eighth wonder of the world. Would that get your attention? The eighth wonder of the world, what is that? Well, that is something I identified as the Baron Rothschild a long time ago said that the eighth wonder of the world is, does anybody know what it is? Compound interest. And the best way to get compound interest is to put away money tax-free and let it grow and grow and grow and grow without paying tax on it. Is that good? That's what I've done a lot of, and that's what you guys ought to be doing. And that's what talks about the eighth wonder of the world. There's not a single word in the book about the eighth wonder of the world. Not a word. And that's sold thousands and thousands and thousands of copies. Another example. How to get enthusiastic applause, even a standing ovation every time you speak. These people came to me, Daniel Levine. He's retired too, by the way. He's in Miami Beach, retired. All I did is write ads for him, and he sent these out in tear sheets, which I'll also show you. And he just made a lot of money, and he decided that he'd rather drink pina coladas in Miami Beach than keep doing it. But in this book, when I got this book, it was a very successful product in Germany. It was, of course, in German. It was translated into English. And I looked at it, and it looked mighty boring to me. This is a product for executives, entrepreneurs. You know, by the way, all of you, that's why there's a little something in your book. We're not going to have time to get into it during this seminar, but I always put a little information about public speaking, because the better presenter you are as an entrepreneur in whatever it is that you're doing, when you're talking with bankers, with customers, with employees, the more successful you're going to be. All the studies show that the better you are communicating your ideas, the more successful you become, whether you're a scientist, a doctor, entrepreneur, whatever it is that you're doing. So learn how, and if I were you, I highly recommend on your topic, whatever your subject is, join Toastmasters. begin offering your services to civic clubs, doing 20-minute presentations at lunchtime. If you've written a book, special report, or write a special report, give it out free. Begin developing your presentation skills, because it'll help you in whatever field that you're in. Because you got to talk with bankers, you got to talk with employees, you got to talk with people, you got to enlist the help of people. You got to talk with suppliers, don't you? I mean, you're always talking with people. So if you learn how to communicate with people in a hearable way, you're going to be a lot more successful. And that's what, so I wrote this ad knowing deep down that every speaker in the world that I've ever talked with, they love it when the audience really appreciates their work and gives them a standing ovation. So, but in the book, there's not a word about standing ovations, not a single word. I launched this in the state for the client. The book was originally in '93 for $97. It's now $297. It's a huge bestseller because it has updates. And we have Aaron Bakshian, who was the speechwriter for the former late President Reagan, who's considered the best public speaker in most circles in America, in American presidents, among American presidents. But that's another example of the hidden benefit technique. Are you getting it? Are you getting where I'm coming from? Think of your product from the standpoint, put your marketer's hat on. You got to put your marketer's hat on, and think of it from your customer's standpoint. What would they love to get from your product? If you don't know, ask your customers. What would you like most, or ask potential, what would you like to get most from the products I offer you? Ask them. And surprisingly, they will tell you. They'll be happy to tell you. And very often you can get good ideas that way, just simply by asking. Okay. The use of a photograph in an ad often improves results. The use of a photograph. Look at this photograph. I don't know, it doesn't come across in a big room like this, but this ad has people standing, giving a standing ovation. I personally found this ad in a book of, what do they call it, stock photographs. You buy books of stock photographs, and you can rent the photograph. And I got it in, the ad was so successful, the client loved it so much that he bought the rights to the photograph for a few $1,000s. Been running it, made millions. It was nothing, but he loved it so much. But to see a photograph like that is harder to stage, because that's actually a group of people giving a standing ovation. In other words, it's a live photograph. Now, okay. It's important that the photograph has a clear connection to a headline. Do you ever read an ad, a sales letter, and there's a photograph, and you know, what's the photograph there for? You ever have that feeling? You're reading it, it's confusing. If there's not a clear connection, it does more harm than good. Better not to have the photograph. So make sure there's a clear connection between the headline and the photograph. Okay, we'll get to this in a second. Also, it's very, very important, well, I'm going to cover that, but I just to make a point, and I'm going to repeat it in a few minutes. Always caption photographs. If it's your picture, if it's a picture of a customer, if it's a picture of a product, caption the photograph. And by the way, if you're choosing between, all things being equal, between a product and a person, humans always pull better than products. Human beings. And another secret of human beings in photographs is make sure they have eye contact with the camera. Eye contact with it. When you look at some of my ads with my high school photograph, you know my ads? That's a joke, high school photograph. When you see those, you'll always see Ted Nicholas on there, because you don't assume people know who that is. Even though the ad has a byline, Ted Nicholas, make sure you have if it's you or your subject or your model, you have the name of the person with the reason for the photo. Always caption it. Now you'll notice that in this ad, the caption is, wouldn't you like to get this type of reception from your next audience? Make your next presentation a smashing success with American speaker. See, there's the caption there. Okay, a good headline motivates action by stirring an emotion. We're all in agreement. We buy things emotionally, don't we? It's got to stir an emotion. Emotion is the missing word. Use verbs which are colorful, vital, and strong. I gave you a lot of them. Love, hate, powerful words. Fire. Use powerful, emotional words. Use short words that create images or pictures. Eliminate as many adjectives and adverbs as you can. The copy should be clean and lean and not mean. Avoid headlines which merely create curiosity, because the person will read that and will not order. If the prospect feels deceived, he stops reading and will not order. For example, if you have in your headline, you're a business, let's say you have a product that appeals to entrepreneurs or should appeal to entrepreneurs, and you have the following kind of a headline. How to improve your sex life is the headline. And the first sentence is, now that I have your attention, I'd like to tell you about this new business product that's going to revolutionize your business. You think that's cute and clever. The reader thinks, I've been tricked. They stop reading it, they'll never buy from you, and probably never should buy from you when you use those kind of tricks. Forget tricks, forget cutesy. Doesn't work. The only thing that works is direct, clear, honest benefits. They either can be obvious benefits, once they're identified, or hidden benefits. So do not attempt to be catchy or cute in your headlines, as do most copywriters. Most copywriters in advertising agencies, they try to use little trite phrases from, that are popular jargon of the day and things like that. Forget it. They're sitting there starving to death, these copywriters, because they've never sold a product in their lives, these people, most of these people. I'm pretty hard on advertising agencies, even though my first serious job was for the McCann Erickson agency, which later became the biggest ad agency in the world. At the time I worked for them, I was 19 years old, and I was not a copywriter, I was like a clerk for them, an assistant, a lackey. I did whatever they told me. But they took a liking to me because I worked harder than most of the other employees, and I used to ask dumb questions, like I'd ask Mr. Harper. The founders of the company were Marion Harper Sr., Marion Harper Jr. They made advertising history. They landed the Buick account, the Coca-Cola account. And I would say, Mr. Harper, the company's just landed the Buick account. Can I ask a question? He'd say, yeah. I'd say, well, how do you know the people buying the Buicks aren't doing it because of the styling, because of the fenders, because of the beautiful colors? How do you know it's not a result of the advert? Why don't you put a coupon in the ads, I would ask, quite dumb questions like this, and ask the people interested in the Buick, they could get a full brochure with all the Buick styles, the convertibles, the station wagons, and so forth. He said, we can't do that. I said, why? He said, because the client would know the response rate. I said, but isn't that good? He'd say, no, it's not good. Well, but I'd say, then how do you know the client? I mean, how does the client know the advertising's any good? They said, well, we do surveys. You know what you can do with surveys? See, I come from the old school. Surveys mean you can get surveys to say anything you want. The only thing that counts is I spend so much and I get so much back. And if I'm not getting that return on investment, I've got to stop the advertising or I'm going to go broke. You identify with that? That's how you look at it. People ask me, what kind of a response rate should I get? And I say, I don't know. Depends on your strategy, but one thing for sure, you can make a lot of money if on your front end for the first product, you break even, you cover your costs, because the big money in direct marketing is where? Does anybody know? It's the so-called back end. To me, it sounds a little bit indecent, the back end, but what it really is are the follow-up products that you have for the people you've captured on the front end. So if you are losing $1,000 on everybody that you sell the first product to, no matter, even if you have the Bank of England behind you or whoever it is, you're going to go bankrupt. because you can't afford to spend $1,000 to sell the first product and lose big money, almost $1,000 on each one of the customers. You've got to cover your front-end costs. So I'm very happy to break even on most products. I'm even more happy when I make 2, 3, 4, 5 times costs, because then it's very profitable on the front end, and it's very profitable on the back end, and everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. I'm happy. The customers are happy. The clients are happy. The suppliers are happy. Everybody's thrilled. And that's what you want to try to do. You want to get as close to that as possible. Okay, now I'm going to show you some things about an ad that are going to change the way. See, a lot of you have never run ads, you've told me, in breaks, or you'd like to know how to run successful ads, but you've never done it. And there's great opportunities for a lot of you to sell off the page. Either one of two things you sell. Either you sell a person to be an inquirer and a prospect for a more full-blown offer, or you sell directly off the page. I've made millions selling directly off the page. And I've made more millions selling on a two-step basis. The way I make that judgment is, if I need more copy than I can get on one page, then I do it on a two-step basis. If I can make money on the front end with one page of copy, I sell on the front end. Make sense? Very simple. So I'm going to show you some secrets behind a space ad that people just are not aware of because they haven't. And see, what I'm sharing with you, by the way, are not some theory that I learned in some book. I'm sharing what I got my teeth kicked in learning. So you don't have to get your teeth kicked in learning it. You can perhaps learn yourself if you want. You can take the next 25 to 30 years and get your teeth kicked in every day, and maybe you'll learn as much, maybe you'll learn more than I've learned. But don't you like the idea of shortcutting the process, of knowing what to look for? That's what I'm doing up here. You like that, huh? Okay, I'm going to show you a way to look at ads, and this applies not only to ads, it applies to brochures, it applies to virtually any form of copy that you're going to have. But let's talk specifically about ads to begin with before we complicate it with other delivery systems. I'm going to show you what to look for in the ad that are not readily apparent to the consumer, not readily apparent to most people. I'm going to take you behind the scenes of an ad, if you will. Would that be helpful? Okay, here's what we're going to do. See this ad? I'm going to just point out several things to you. First of all, is there a red light on this thing or no? I didn't bring my pointer. Okay. Look at the headline and notice that the headline typefaces are what's called upper and lower case. Capital letters with lowercase letters next to the letter. That is the most readable form of headline copy that you should use. Don't use anything else. Graphic designers get bored with upper and lowercase. They want you to use all caps. But when you use all caps, there's one problem. The people that have the money to buy your products usually are over 35, over 40, and a lot of them have glasses, reading glasses, and you want to make it easy to read. Number one. Number two, you want to make your copy and your ads look like editorial matter. I call my ads advertorials. You don't want your ad to scream, I'm an ad, I'm an ad, I'm an ad, because what people want to do with an ad, you know what they want to do? Before they read it, they want to deep six it or turn the page. You notice people, when they read their direct mail, they read it in front of a wastebasket. And the stuff, because most things people get in the mail, what do they call that kind of mail? And what is it? It's junk, man. It looks terrible. And one of the things that's on it, these big headlines that are screaming at the person. You can't scream at people and get their attention and hold their attention. And that's what, and they're hard to read. So use upper and lowercase always. You notice there are quotation marks around the headline. A quotation mark Studies show 27% more people read and retain what the headline says with quotation marks because it connotes, indicates somebody important said it, and somebody important did say it. You know who it was? It was me. And when you're writing your copy, are you important? Put what you, very often, most of the time, we put our headlines in quotation marks. Next, see the P. The first word in the copy is picture yourself enjoying the looks. Picture, the word picture. There is what's called a drop letter. A drop letter. It's a drop P. Why is there a drop letter in the ad? Anybody guess? Because selling is a sequential process, you remember? So I want the person to read the headline, the first sentence, and then go down to the order information at the end. Now, does that mean everybody will do that? Of course not. But will the majority do that? Yes, because the graphic elements help guide the eye. So that's why there's a drop first letter, and I use a drop first letter on virtually all ads, all brochures for the first word in a piece of copy. I already mentioned the photograph with a caption, always a caption under the photograph. Now notice that there is a lot of what's called subheadlines. Subheadlines. Look at the subheadline. A must for leaders. Doesn't a good speech take time to prepare? Does a good speech take time to prepare? What do you think? Absolutely. Oh, thank you. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you. Either I'm not working it right or...
That's not good. I'll go away.
Thanks, Andrew. He'll find a solution. Will the pointer help? Will the pointer help you guys? Because I'll be able to point at things. But until that happens, I'll just show you a must for leaders. Doesn't a good speech take time to prepare? We have one? This works. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I got it, yeah. Thank you. Okay. Here we are. A must for leaders. Doesn't a good speech take time to prepare? Put Ronald Reagan's chief speechwriter on your team. You're interested in public speaking. You're going to read. You think you're going to keep reading? President Ronald Reagan, there's a testimonial from the president. Is that a good testimonial? Well, of course, with his permission to use. Get answers to these important questions. How much is one good speech worth? You know, one good speech can make a career, can it? One good speech can make a career. Guarantee, very powerful word. For 1993, free. What's the most powerful word in any language? Free. Look how many times it's used. If you order now, we'll send you free, absolutely free. Act now. And what's the first word of the order form? Free. Free trial request. And what's the first word of the order form? Yes. Remember yes? Please send me the now, notice this dotted line around the coupon. Is it thick or thin? It's thin, because selling is what kind of a process? Sequential. What do graphic designers want to do when they take your ad? They want to make these great, big, thick coupons because they think it looks better. See, the graphic designer is oriented differently, and that's okay. Most graphic designers are, because they think it looks better to them. But I'm not interested in what looks good to the graphic designer. I'm interested in the sequence to the consumer, because I have a lot of sitting in the warehouse to sell. That's what my job is, to sell the products, right? That's your job and mine. So you want to have a thick coupon because of the sequential process. Okay. We're running out of juice? It's red in front, but then it doesn't. We need a new battery, or Andrew's coming. Anyway, you get that sequence, you get those concepts. Now at the very bottom of the ad, there is the following words. C, copyright, 1993, or whatever year it is, your company name. Because what you want to do is, here's what I found. As my ads run all over the world, more people are ripping me off, trying to rip me off all the time, because if it's successful, you get people that want to copy you. And when they copy my ads or my headlines or the things, I send a cease and desist letter. That's your intellectual property. That's how you make a living. And 95% of the time, they stop. They get scared and they stop. 5% of the time, we have to sue them. We sue them. Get your lawyer, turn it over to your lawyer, sue them. Stop. You have to stop using, because that's the way we market our products. We have somebody in Germany right now is copying one of the ads for Green Power, copied word for word of the ad. I mean, it's ridiculous. So we have to stop them. So, but the copyright, what does it do? It gives you a little bit of common law, what's called common law legal protection. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. But to register with a copyright office, every single ad that you do is a little bit of a laborious process. It costs a few bucks. What I always do, we run so many ads, a lot of them are tests, and we just put the copyright notice on everything, on ads, on brochures, and it gives you a little more protection. So that's what I recommend you do. These are some of the things that are behind. Okay, here's some other very important things. Notice how many columns are in this ad. How many columns? 3 columns. There's a reason for it, because 3 columns are easier to read. Most people, when they do, they want to have 1 or 2 columns. That makes the column widths too great, with big blocks of copy that are intimidating to the reader, and the reader will not read those. So you want to have bite-sized pieces. Plus, you remember the word advertorial. I want my ad to look very much like an article in a magazine or newspaper, because it is like an article. There's a lot of information in that ad, whether you buy or not. Because if you don't buy this week, you may buy next week. And I want my ad to look like information that happens to be an ad. I'm not ashamed that it's an ad. I'm proud that it's an ad. But I don't want to scream it to the customer, because a lot of people have a negative view of ads. They're afraid because why? Because they may have to spend what? Money. And they don't want to spend money. They don't have the money, or they're afraid of the money, or they're scared, or their wives told them, or husbands, you better not spend any more money on these kind of products, right? So they don't do it. So what you want to do is get people into the copy and do it with these techniques. Now, I want to show you, let's see if we've captured everything. Oh, okay, we haven't. Notice the typeface of the copy is what's called a serif typeface. A serif typeface are with the little curly cues on it. It happens to be a Times Roman typeface. And the reason I use it, it's easier to read. You're here to get out of your comfort zone slightly, but you don't want your customers out of their comfort zone. You want your customers in their comfort zone. It's easier to read. It looks like an editorial. It's the way other copies in good newspapers like the Sunday Times, the London Times, New York Times, Washington Post, the best newspapers of the world, the best magazines of the world, like The Economist, they all have this kind of typeface. You want to have your ads look like the best publications in the world. Okay? Now, I found through tests, see this right column of each of the columns? I found that either, this is what's called, in some cases here, it's a ragged right column or a justified right column. I found it doesn't make any difference. You can use what you like. I use mostly ragged right columns. Ragged right means it's uneven. Okay, like this is for the most part. Okay, let's see if we've covered, and this is where you can capture all this in your notes. So every time you look at an ad, when you create an ad, if you have a graphics person working with you, if you have an employee, if you have an assistant, you use this checklist so that you can run your ad by this checklist to see whether it meets these standards. I'll leave this up for a minute. Upper and lower case headlines, you remember? Serif body typeface means with the curly cues. What I did not cover is the limited use of reverse. You remember the first big ad that I showed you before that had the first corporate book on my corporate, what I call my corporation book, the first full-page ad had a black background on the headline. Do you remember that? I've tested black background versus white background, and white background with black letters works better. Don't use reverse. Your graphics people like to use the reverse because they think it's cool. But you don't want to be cool, you want to be successful. Drop first letter we covered. Subheads. I didn't comment more on subheads. Subheads do two things. They break up large blocks of copy, and they're very effective for readers with short attention spans. People can read the subheads in this ad. They can read the headline, the subheads, the order information, and order the product because they basically have a short story about the product. You see what I'm saying? Short attention span reader, boom, they can go right through to the, so you break up the big blocks of copy, and it's very effective for the person. They get a lot of benefits just reading the subheads. All right. Okay. Caption the photos, I've covered that. Coupon, thin coupon it should say. It says coupon, thin coupon. Quotation marks and copyright notice. Got all that? Now I want to give you six good subheads that you can use without any royalties or payments to me or anybody else freely. Would that help you? 6 good ones. Would that help you? I can skip that if. Now the problem is, I've brought so much material. This is what I'm guilty of because I want to pack so much in. What are we going to, you guys want to have lunch, right? No. If you don't want to have lunch, I mean, I don't need lunch because I'm keyed up, man, so I don't need lunch. But I don't want to interfere. It's your seminar. It's Andrew's seminar. Where's Andrew? He's having lunch. I know it's going to be hard for me to cover all the material I brought, and I don't want to run over. I don't want to interfere with it. One good thing is I wouldn't be interfering with any other speakers because we'd be going through the lunch period. So let me continue with the material as rapidly as I can so you're going to get it, and we'll see where we are, and we'll see where we go. Is that okay? And then we will see where you are. Okay. I mean, we're supposed to go, well, we'll see how we get. Okay, here we are. What about you? You've described your product, you've described the benefits, you've described the features, then you have near the close, what about you? Question mark. A full 30-day no-risk trial. Don't hate yourself for missing out. You remember? Don't hate yourself for missing out. Start right away. You discuss your home study program, and you have toward the end, start right away. You can have it in your home within the next 24 hours. You start right away. You see how involving that is? Easy to use. Easy to use. Don't you like things that are easy to use? Especially if you're like me, you're not a technological wizard, you know, trying to hit buttons and so forth. By the way, I'm a big believer in the most money that you can ever make, and the most fun too, but the most money you'll ever make is when you study marketing. And part of marketing is copywriting. And I believe even if you're great at the technical stuff, doing web pages and all that, hire people, write checks for everything. But the thing you can't write checks so easily for is marketing. creating offers, creating products, creating copy. That's where the money is. If you just like spinning wheels and playing around with computers and so forth, that's not how you're going to create the future I think you all want. So this is what I do. I mean, I can type, for example. I've written 15 best-selling books, thousands of ads, and I write on yellow pads by longhand. And I have very rapid typists, including the best assistant I ever had, Bethany. She's the best editor that I ever had. She types some of my work. We have other typists that type, because I'm writing copy every day, and I write very fast in longhand, and that's what I'm used to, and that's what I stay with. Even though I learned in the Marine Corps, I had to type 60 words a minute. I can type. But why should I spend my time typing when I have a typist? I'm making so much, earning so much for my clients if I'm using my creative skills not in that way. So my webmaster does the web. I don't know anything technically. Turning on computer, I don't want to hear. I want to know what I'm going to get out of the computer. I want to know what I want out of the website. I want to know the marketing strategy, the offers, the bonuses, the copy, the headlines. That's where I'm focused. And that's what I recommend you do. And if you're good at that technical stuff, I feel sorry for you because it's going to be hard for you to walk away from it, but that's what you should do. Let somebody else do it that gets paid $10 or $15 or $20 an hour, and you get the stuff that earns you thousands per hour. You got it? This is what I recommend, okay. Next, free bonus. You got that up there? Free bonus. Very good subhead, free bonus. That gets people attention, and always, and here, remember this phrase, you might want to put it also in your notes. In direct marketing, no matter what you use, delay is death. Delay is death. If a person says, well, this is an interesting piece of copy, I'll put it on my desk, and I'll think about it, and I'll get back to it in a couple of days. You know what happens? Nothing. People forget about it. What you need is an incentive to do it now. And it's a very positive, have a very positive incentive. There's a real advantage to doing it now. You get a special price if you do it now, rather than waiting and delaying and delaying and delaying, because people procrastinate. Because they procrastinate, they wonder, should I be investing money in this? What about this, that, and the other? What about other expenses? What about taxes and so forth? You have these thoughts in people's minds. So you want to give people an incentive to buy now. And all of my ads, there's a reason to buy now. In the next 10 days, if you order within it, there's a free bonus. We use this a lot. If there's a free bonus for early birds. If you order now, within the next 10 days, you'll get these 5 free bonuses. And at the end of 10 days, the rest of the people don't get the bonuses. So there's an incentive to buy now. That's what you want to build into your stuff, because delay is death. If you tell people, hey, yeah, we're here and we've got this nice offer and we're good people and look at our benefits, and you're going to get very small percent responses. But if you get these 10 super duper free bonuses, or 3 or 5 or whatever it is that you have, if you order within the next 24 hours, if you order immediately, if you order by midnight tonight, if you're on the internet, electronically delivering these messages, it can be a very powerful tool. Okay, next. The lowest risk form of marketing is via two-step sales. You remember I showed you the first ad that I ever ran? It's a two-step ad. You run the ad, people, what you're doing with the ad is getting people to raise their hand. The goal of the two-step selling technique is to get the prospect to raise their hand. Yeah, Ted, I'm interested. Tell me more. And your job is to tell them more. And how do you tell them more? By a long-form sales letter, no matter how you deliver it. You want to tell them everything that they need to know about your product, every benefit, every single benefit. People ask me all the time, Ted, do people read all those long letters? And the answer is absolutely. Now, you remember you learned in school in English, you got A's in English, and your letter would be 3 sentences. It would say, wherein we got yours of March 23rd. 3 sentences. It's too long. It's too boring. The worst thing you can do is bore somebody in copy. It's the very biggest myth. Copy can never be too long. One of my seminar attendees, one of the most successful marketers in America, Jeff Paul. I helped him create a 56-page sales letter, 56 pages. His market are financial planners, left brain type guys, they used to look at charts, nice guy, but they're into this left, but they are fed up with working for these big insurance companies that have these ridiculous staffs of lawyers that are second guessing every word of copy, and they have the most boring stuff, and they have no support materials. So Jeff's 56-page letter basically says, are you tired of getting all this stuff that doesn't work? Wouldn't you like to know how to attract people to your services and how you can really attract clients and how you can fill rooms of seminars where people come in and listen to you present your financial products? And the whole 56-page letter is about 56 pages. People read every single word, and he's got a very high response rate, and the product is about $800 US. It's a tape course, CD course. Okay. In most cases, for two-step ads, use small display ads, and I underline small display ads, not classified ads, because classified ads, unfortunately, only work for a few products, such as if they're car-related. Think about it. When you look at the classified ads pages, you look at things that are car-related, that are apartment or house-related, in very few instances, business opportunities, but very few papers now and magazines, except a few directed to the small business opportunities, have opportunity sections in the classified ads. It's often and usually much better to have small display ads because you can choose the part of the newspaper, if you're doing newspapers, where you put the ad. Now, does anyone know the best part of a newspaper, the most read part of a newspaper is what? Most read part of a newspaper is the entertainment page. Entertainment page, people look at the entertainment page. If you've got a product to the broad consumer, you want to put it in the entertainment page. Now, the days of the week are very important if you're running in a newspaper. Which is the best day of the week? On average, the best day of the week I found, what would you guess? And the best day of the week is Tuesday. Second best day, Thursday. Third best, Sunday, on average. Monday's terrible because people have just started the week. They don't read much. They don't read the ads. They've started their week. They're unhappy in their job. They don't read much. So Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday are good days to test. If you're running a business-type product, the business page is good. Or an entrepreneurial or business, because entrepreneurs and executives read the business page. Okay. The reason classified ads work only for a limited number of offers is they're unless related to their area of interest. Your prospects are not looking in the classified section. For instance, your prospects for your computer super duper software program, they're not looking in the classified ads, are they, for your type of product? That's not what they're into. They're reading magazines that are directed toward people that are interested in computer software, things like that. They're interested in magazines targeted to them, lists that are targeted to them. So you don't want to run ads where people that are interested in your product are never going to look. Unless you have a real estate apartment for sale or rent, or house for sale or rent, then that would be a good place for you. But generally, so I've noticed over the years, more people probably have lost more money in classified advertising than any other form of advertising because it sounds so easy. You're on a small ad, put it in the classified section. But if you multiply by 700 classified papers like they have in the US, you can easily spend $20,000, $30,000 and you get no results or very few results. But it sounds like a fortune, a way to make a fortune. And by the way, if you're running any ad, test it once, test it twice. Don't run in a series of newspapers, don't forget it. The advertising salespeople will try to convince you that's the way you do it. You get the best price. Don't worry about the best price. Worry about initially getting some response. Then you can roll out and get a better price. Okay, this was the ad I showed you before, how I started my business. That's a two-step ad, free information to follow. Okay, now we're going to get into the juicy part of direct marketing, the real workhorse I call it, of any direct marketer's sales arsenal are sales letters. Real workhorse. This is what's going to make you money. But all that I've covered about ads, if you can write effective ads, you can write effective direct mail. Because, frankly, you can get away with murder in direct mail because you have a longer format. See, in space ads, the reason a lot of people have trouble is it's got to be tightly written. It's got to be very tight. Whereas in a sales letter, you can have a little bit, I don't like sales letters unless they're tightly written, but you can have a little more room for messing around in a sales letter. I write my sales letters just like I do the ads. Tight. Every word counting. Every single word. I cross out unnecessary words. I want it long enough to tell the whole story, but short enough that it's not boring, but I'll show you how to evaluate that. For best results, here's what's traditionally included in a sales letter. One, a letter. This is outbound. This is Andrew Reynolds, one of the most successful marketers in the last 20 years in the UK. He does all of his marketing via sales letters, just like you got. You got a sales letter, didn't you? Got a letter. And what you get is a letter, the outer envelope, and the order form. That's included. The next three are optional. Business reply envelope, we call them BREs, lift letter, brochure. The last three are optional. Most of my mail that I do for clients and for my own have the first four. But very often we'll go to 5 and 6. You got all that? Okay. You want to know what a lift letter is? Well, I'm going to explain that, but I'll cover it now, and then I'll record it in your notes later. A lift letter comes from the phrase, it's a letter written by someone other than or under the signature, over the signature of someone other than the original sender of the letter. It could be an expert in your field. It could be a customer. It could be a doctor with a product in the health field. So it's someone other than you. If you're the signer of the original letter, someone other than the main signer of the letter. That's the lift letter. And the reason you have it is to lift response. You want to have something in that letter that's not in the main letter. For example, another reason you might want to get Dr. Nicholas's water system, I mean, I'm just using a hypothetical example, is this that I didn't cover in the main letter. In other words, it's another reason why the water system that I've described in the main letter is by a third party endorsing, in effect endorsing it and having another benefit. You see what I mean? And on the back of this lift letter, you have the following magic words. Please do not read unless you have not decided to order. And of course, everybody will read it. They'll read it anyway, whether they decided to order or not decided to order, because they're curious. Wouldn't you? So you read it from the expert, and it just solidifies, perhaps, the reasons you're interested in the product. Okay. And by the way, I hope Andrew doesn't mind this. You want to have on every piece of information you ever give out, mail, send, include in a package, your contact information on your materials that people can buy from you. Stuart Goldsmith and I were looking at that wonderful offer that Andrew made to all of you to buy the tapes for practically nothing of this whole shooting match here. That's incredible. I mean, so we're looking at it, and both Stuart and I say, there's no contact information. There's no telephone number. There's no order form address. I don't know whether Sandra, I don't know whether anybody has picked that up yet, But I'm sure the comment would be, or Andrew's picked up, the comment would be, well, but it's for the people at the seminar, so they'll turn it in, so we don't need that. But some of the people will take that home. That yellow sheet you have there, there's no contact information. You'd be surprised how often I find this with client info. They can't believe it. They've got copywriters, they've got graphics people, they've got checkers, they've got editors, they've got proofreaders. I come in and I see, why do, because it's kind of a natural thing I look for because I see it so often. You got me? Never send out anything, never give anybody anything, because some people, maybe somebody got sick yesterday, they got a cold or had a cold, went home with an upset stomach, they took it home with them. You want to make it easy. If the person wants the tapes, when they get home, they can order the tape, right? You don't know how to make, where's the number, where's the address? Make it easy for people to order, because that's a customer service you must have. So make sure it's on all of your materials. Okay, now, you remember I told you about the failed book, How to Fight Cancer and Win? And here is the headline, and what you're looking at is the outer envelope, front and back. Front and back. Where did Andrew go? See? Hiding. He's having lunch. He's a terrific person, but I know he's busy with it. But anyway, oh, here, maybe this will work. Here we go. Maybe I wasn't pressing hard enough. Here's the headline. You can prevent and cure cancer with 2 natural foods. See the quotation marks? World-renowned doctor says, 7-time Nobel Prize, 3 free reports. Is it 3 or 5? 3 free reports. See inside for details. Envelope front, that's the front, the top, and the back is the back of the envelope. Now, most direct marketers, do they use the back? What do you think? No. And I found over the years, a lot of people, the mail lands on the person's desk and it lands face side down. The secretary puts it there, face side down. The back is valuable real estate. I want the back to have a lot of benefits. So what are these benefits on the back? They're from my 3x5 card. Remember the 3x5 cards? They're from the 3x5 cards, and we call them bullet points, because those 3x5 cards have helped me create the bullet points. Now look, as we go through the letter, that's the back of the letter. That's the back of the letter. The flap, 7-time Nobel Award nominated doctor, shows how certain natural foods and nutrients actually prevent and cure cancer. Leading medical doctors endorse her breakthrough findings. Because I'm looking for credibility. It's a bold statement, isn't it? 2 foods, eat. 2 foods, you can prevent and cure cancer with 2 foods. Is that fantastic? Pardon? I'm sorry, I can't hear, and we don't have microphones, so.
She says she thinks it was illegal to claim you can cure cancer.
Well, if it's illegal, no sheriff has knocked on my door yet. I haven't had, it may be, I'm not giving you legal advice. I have not had any problems in the United States with claims of any kind, including this, and this has been mailed out into millions. Oh, in the US in particular, you have, with First Amendment products, that is information products, a lot of leeway. Again, I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm sure a lawyer would say, you're on shaky ground. But we've never had a problem with this or other offers. Now, you're the only audience that I've ever, 2,500 people, no one has asked in this audience what those 2 foods are. And I'm not going to tell you, because you haven't asked. You get in life what you ask for. No one has asked, so I'm not going to tell you. Okay, I wanted to tease you a little bit and see if you're paying attention. Those 2 foods are linseed oil and cottage cheese. But the linseed, it sounds terrible. Somebody went, yeah, but it tastes really good. We have it a couple times a week, and you want to make sure that the linseed oil is fresh, or it can be called flaxseed oil. Flaxseed or linseed oil, depends on the country. Flaxseed or linseed. Talk with your health food store. If you can't get the actual oil, make sure it's freshly pressed, cold pressed. If not, get the flax seeds and grind them yourself. And a lot of people have found Dr. Budwig recommends this to all her patients. She was 94 years old when she wrote that book. A very fantastic person. And we use it ourselves. I don't market anything, by the way, that I don't use myself. If I don't have passion for it, believe in it, I don't market. I'm not interested in it. I've had people come to me that have health products. One of the questions I ask when I'm interviewing prospective clients, how much of these supplements do you take? You know what some of them say? None. I say, well, then go find somebody else, with all due respect. I'm not interested. You want me to help you market a product you're not involved with yourself? You got the wrong guy. When I asked Dr. Hiddich, the founder of Green Power, how much of his products did he take, and he gave me a list of the supplements he takes daily. That impressed me. I knew that his heart was in the right place. Anyway, let me take you quickly through the, that's a picture of Dr. Budwig, the actual full-color picture. Very attractive 94-year-old woman. And I don't have time to get into all the bonuses, but I named all the bonuses. They came from other failed books. I basically took chapters of other books and created the bonuses. I mean, look at some of them. The truth, I can't even read it here. Anyway, I can't get into the analysis of, but there's hot bonuses, and on the back of the order form, there are what readers are telling us, a couple of testimonials, and there's a double guarantee. You can either get the book, and if you don't like it, send it right back for a refund, or keep it for a year. If you're not happy, send it back for full refund. Is that good? I mean, no question about it. Okay, here's the letter itself. Page 1 of the letter on the left. You remember, at last there's an answer to cancer. But look at some of the techniques. The four most important, looking on the upper right-hand side, there's one of the bullet points is a headline on each page of the letter. See? Isn't that an interesting graphic? An interesting graphic way. The graphic designer that worked for me for many years in my publishing company, she's now freelance, she did all the graphics here. Beg your pardon? That's right. That's right. I've only got 2. Actually, I only have 1 because I'm using a single column format in a letter normally, not a double column. Now, the signature, always use only one color, process blue. Write this down, process blue in the signature. It's the color that works best. Not black, not green, not red. Many people use black because it's cheaper. You run it through the press once, use black. Use process blue, your orders more than justify the cost. Use a PS. The second most read part of any letter, first read part is what? The headline. The second most read part is the PS. Always have a PS in your letter. When you're writing to your mother, your grandmother, your children, get in the habit of using a PS and use a headline in all your letters. I write when I write to my grandson, Grandpa wins tennis tournament, you know. That gets his attention. So he's a champion tennis player himself. So anyway, always use a PS. Okay, I wanted to show you graphically. This is what's called a tear sheet. This is the kind of thing that made Danny Levinas a fortune. He sent out about 30 million tear sheets with different products that I wrote the copy for. But notice on this one, the shark about ready to eat the sandwich, the headline, how to stop the competition from eating your lunch. Now that kind of I basically wrote the copy and gave a suggested tip on how to do the graphic. And the artist drew some pictures, and I chose them and used the graphic. Some of the copy that you use, a good graphic is better than a picture in that kind of a case. If you stage that, it would look phony. But here's another example. Catapult yourself to the top, become an electrifying public speaker. Is that true? You become electrifying, you're going to head for the presidency, you rise faster in any organization. But look, there's a cannon with an executive going to the bullseye. See, the way you use a graphic effectively. Okay, here's a letter that I wrote, this now in German. A single mistake which breaks tough new German labor laws could cost you a fortune. Now, the German entrepreneur, when he reads that, scares him to death, doesn't it? One good technique in marketing is give people a headache and sell aspirin. Give people a headache and sell aspirin. You see what I'm doing? I'm giving the person a positive headache because it's true. If the person makes a single mistake, they're in big trouble with the German authorities. Isn't it good to invest a small amount of money to have a book that shows you what to avoid? So positive fear is what I use a lot. Again, I don't have time to get into all the emotional responses that I look for, that I create in copy, but only to tell you that emotion is the thing that we need to capture and generate in our prospect. There's the outside envelope, how to reduce personnel costs and still comply with Germany's tough new labor law. Answers to every manager's most pressing problem. You can see where a manager would want to read that, correct? Every manager, because they're responsible. And here's the sales letter, a few techniques. See the sales letter, you see the highlights that we have reproduced by the printer. So I have certain words, certain subheads. The secret of highlighting is not to highlight too much, because if you highlight too much, then nothing stands out. You got to have very limited, 2 or 3 sentences, 2 or 3 words, 2 or 3 sections in the page. Okay. Now, 3 elements must be in balance to succeed in a sales letter. 3 elements. Number 1, the offer. Number 2, the list. Number 3, the copy. Now, what do you think is the most important element? The most important part of any sales letter is the list, because you could have the greatest sales letter in the world that goes to the wrong market, no one will respond. If you have people, your list, let's say, or your prospects are bass fishermen, and you have a book about how to catch salmon, they're not interested in salmon. They're interested in bass. So you don't sell that. You don't try. If you said the greatest sales letter with the wrong fish, they're not going to buy. You have to match the offer, the product with the list. The list is critical. If the list is too old, if the list is incorrect for the product, it's going to die no matter how good the copy is. Now, if you have a hot, fresh list, hot, good copy, and you have an irresistible offer, you've got a very good chance to succeed. They have to be in balance. If you have a total flop in a mailing, I guarantee you one of those things is off base. One of the things is off. Now, the best list you'll ever have is, which one do you think it is? Your list. Your opt-in list if you're electronic, or your opt-in list if you're non-electronic. The people that have raised their hand on a 2-step basis, the people that have bought that first product, they're your best list, will always be your best list. You can't rent an outside list that's as good as your own list, because they know you, they trust you, they love you. If, with one caveat, if your product is fantastic. If your product is not fantastic, you better improve your product, because frankly, the easiest thing to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to improve your product. The hardest thing to do is to get customers. So if your product is on the weak side, improve your product, work on the product, hire editors, do what you have to do if it's an information product. If it's a non-information product, hire engineer. Whatever you have to do, improve that. That's easy. The problem is getting people to raise their hand or buy your product or send money in the mail for your product. So if you're getting too many returns on your guarantee, a lot of people are afraid of guarantees. If you have too many returning the product, that's good news for you, because you know that you have to improve the product. You don't want anybody's money, do you, if they're unhappy with your product? They'll never buy anything from you again. It's wasting your time, their time. Probably going to go to every agency, as they should, Better Business Bureau, everybody, and complain about you, and they should, because they're unhappy with what you gave them. make the customer happy, astonish the customer. My goal is to astonish the customer with value, always astonish. If my client has a product that needs great improvement, if it's a terrible product, I won't mark. But if it needs improvement, I tell them, improve that product or I resign. I'm not going to do it. Improve the product. It's got to be improved. So the client knows. See, one of the good things when you don't need clients, you can tell them anything. You know, I mean, I don't care. I mean, I'm going to tell a person the truth. I tell them, if you want somebody to tell you what you want to hear, you have the wrong guy. If you want somebody to tell you how I see it, that's what you're paying me a lot of money for, I'm going to tell you how I see it. And if it needs improving, I'll tell you. Okay, the 5 essential ingredients of a good letter are, number 1, clarity. Number 2, flow. Number 3, believability. Number 4, close. You've got to close the letter just like you do a sales presentation. You know all the stories about the salesman that goes out, makes friends with a customer, shakes everybody's hand, never asks for the order, doesn't get any orders. The same in direct mail. A lot of people, they're afraid to close. You got to tell the person, at the end of this message, please take out your Mont Blanc pen and sign your name. Press hard. Sign your name to this order form and write your check for $3.5 million. That's 3500. In other words, you've got to be specific. Close the sale and be proud of it. I mean, that's what most salesmen are. They're ashamed of the product. If you're ashamed of the product, something's wrong with the product. I have a lot of professional speakers come to my seminars. Most professional speakers, they don't do a very good job in the US of marketing their products because they're not really proud of their products. They think it's beneath them to sell products. And I tell people, you are doing your audience, if your product is great and your audience loves your message, they're going to want more. If your product is great, they're going to want to take it home with them. So be proud of it that people have a chance for peanuts to extend, if they like your message, to extend their education with you. And that's how you ought to approach it. And so that a person's got to make a big mental switch if they feel, well, you know, I've got this book, but it's in the back of the room. And that's how a lot of speakers, I couldn't believe it. Once in my seminars, 3 former presidents of National Speakers Association, one of them had no product at all. I couldn't believe it. In fact, I'll tell you who it is. The late Bill Gove. You know, Bill Gove, he made 15,000, what do they call it, the after dinner thing, the keynote speeches. 15,000, never sold a product. And I got him, when he came to me, I got him to write a book with the help of a ghostwriter on how to be a great platform speaker, because he's a great joke teller and everything. And it's his legacy to the world. I mean, he did a great job. He was one of America's great speakers. Anyway, you've got to be proud of your product and show it in your copy and show it when you talk about it. When you go to the Chamber of Commerce and make a speech, that's what comes across. If you're proud of it, it shows. If you're not, it shows. Okay. Before you sit down, you want to know the secrets of really writing great copy? Here's what I do. You ready? You be rested. In other words, don't write copy if you've had like 1 hour sleep. Try to delay it if at all possible. Get a good night's sleep, be rested, cut off the phone, eat sparingly. Don't try to write copy in the afternoon if you've had a huge buffet lunch with a family that day and you've kind of overeaten, because you feel groggy, don't you, after a big meal? Count your blessings. This is what I do every day. I count my blessings. I thank the good Lord for my health, for my fantastic relationship with Bethany, for my children, for my friends, for my clients, for the freedom that I have in my life, for all the places I travel, all the places I live, for all my material possessions. I just give great thanks for the limited skills that I have in sports that I've done so much with, because I'm a marathon runner, I just keep at it, you know, and I just count my blessings. And exercise moderately, and by that I mean take a nice walk in the park perhaps. Swim a few laps if you're by a swimming pool. Exercise. Ride your bicycle along the shore if you're by the, or in a nice area, or in the woods, or in the Black Forest, wherever you are. Exercise moderately. And then you're almost ready to write copy. But to write an effective sales letter, you must prepare yourself by getting into a peak emotional state. And this is what I do. I get myself, I want to be in a peak emotional state. If I've just had a letter that morning from the Inland Revenue or from the IRS that I'm going to have a full audit of my books and records in the next 60 days, and or I have a major ticket that comes to be in the mail, because in Switzerland they have these things where it's automatic. You get these tickets for speeding. I got this ticket. Or one of my, perhaps somebody in my family has a failing grade on a major subject. Or a key assistant has just given their notice, because when they're around me, a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs, you know. They've given their notice. I'm going to lose a very valuable assistant. You're not in a great emotional state, are you? But that's part of life. Isn't this what happened? Well, if I've got to write copy that afternoon, what do I do? What do? You think you're going to sit down and write this beautiful copy? No, and you need to have it by tomorrow morning. So I need to get myself, so I'm going to share with you something that you think at first I may be a little bit crazy, but this is what I found. Most everything that I've ever done in my life has been hard for me, not easy. I've studied. I got my teeth kicked in. I made mistakes. But I learned this, what I'm about to share with you, in one day, and in one day I changed my whole life, because I found how I can change my emotional state from down to up. Would you like to do that? And so that when you're writing copy and when you want to get yourself really revved up for things, you can do it. So I'm going to ask you to do a little exercise with me, and we're all going to get our emotional state up. Don't we need it? Don't we all need to be up a little bit? And so I would like you to turn to I would like you to turn to page 26 of the workbook. But you know, you can quickly turn and have that in front of you. But what we're going to do is, and bear with me on this, anybody that has any physical problems that doesn't want to do it doesn't have to participate, but I guarantee it's going to change your life. Nobody will be embarrassed. Everybody please stand up. And we're going to do a few of these affirmations. This is what I do. Bethany, when she hears me doing these affirmations, she knows I'm ready to write copy. And, okay, the first one's very simple. I'll say it, and then we'll all say it together. I feel terrific. I feel terrific. Okay, that's about a C minus. How about let's really get this level really up. Come on, let's blow the lid off this incredible facility. I feel terrific. Okay, that's B. Now I want to go to an A level, but we're going to add one thing to it. It's going to just make a huge difference. At the end of the I feel terrific, we're going to look straight up, and we're going to put our hands up like this, and we're going to look as silly as our comfort zone allows us, okay? So here we are. Ready? All together. I feel terrific. And now we're going to add one more thing. One more time. We're going to add, I feel terrific. Yes. I feel terrific. Yes. Boy, that's pretty silly. Pretty silly. How about even sillier? But let's go to the other one. The next one. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be alive. Yes. Fantastic. Let's give ourselves a hand. How's your emotional level? Better? Better? Okay, next one. I can make my life anything I want it to be. I can make my life anything I want it to be. All together. I can make my life anything I want it to be. Yes! Number 5, I'm getting healthier every day. I'm getting healthier every day. Yes! Now let's jump down to number 20. I will write with honesty and feeling. I will write with honesty and feeling. Yes! Let's give ourselves a hand. How do you feel? Fantastic. Well, please sit down. Thank you for trusting me and sharing in that exercise. I think we had about 100% participation. I think that's fantastic. Now, it's impossible, I submit to you, to be in the state that you were in 5 minutes ago, right now. If you sat down to write copy right now, it would be much better than it would have been 5 minutes ago, because maybe you're thinking, maybe should I go to lunch? Is Ted going to continue? What do we do? Do we finish the work? You had other thoughts in your mind, but didn't you change your emotional state? And the reason is, and now if you want to be depressed, you don't have to do this, but if you wanted to be depressed, it's easy. You probably see your friends, relatives, and children, if you have children, do this. If your child walks in, you say, walks in, how's it going? Not too well. I mean, all you've got to do to be depressed is look down, slump your shoulders, slouch, and pretty soon the physiology causes the emotion. Physiology, the experts tell us, cause 54% of the emotional state. So just changing the feeling, and that's an NLP. That's an NLP technique that we just did together. But those affirmations are my personal ones. You can change them, but you're welcome to use those to change your emotional state when you write copy. And even if you're not writing copy, they're nice, they're cool to do, aren't they? We have families that come to the seminar, they bring their children, and the children are doing the affirmations when they're getting ready to do their homework, for example, which I hadn't thought about that but that's a thing to do. But you can change. If you're getting to write copy, I highly recommend you do the affirmations, because here's what's fascinating. The subconscious mind can be positively manipulated. In other words, just by changing a few actions, you're basically changing your emotional state. And that little exercise right there changed my whole approach to writing copy. Because when I'm sitting down now to write copy, I am raring, I'm hot, I'm ready to go, okay? Now, our problem is, I'm supposed to tell you about some take-home things. We haven't finished the book, but what we can do is we can send you the answers. I've covered the majority of the material. What I can do is go over because you do want it sometime, I think, to break and to have something to eat. I want to give you a chance to study. If you'll pass out that, if you'll pass out the deal there, I want to give you the chance, those of you that are interested, to, while they're being passed out, I'll explain briefly the things that I've brought that Andrew asked me, and really a special offer that I've never made before, those of you that really want to continue. If you feel you've gotten at least one good idea in this short time we've been together, imagine what you would get if you had 2, 3, and 4-day seminars to study with workbooks and all the materials. So you decide for yourself if you want to continue further. And here's what I want to offer you. First, we have magic words that bring you riches. We have CDs. You can use these CDs on your computer. You can print out pages, print out sections. And so you have magic words that bring you riches, every word of the book. And all the examples, you have a lot of ads that I showed you today. You'll want to study those because they're very important. How to turn words into money. You'll have ads, and this is the latest book. And you'll have ads and sales letters and so forth that you can learn a lot from. This is another CD. And many of you are interested in becoming information marketers. And if you're not, no matter what you're marketing, I highly recommend you have at least one information marketing product, be it an ebook or a book that you can sell electronically as well as in printed version. the way I do with my books. I mean, the e-books, my books sell incredibly well on the internet, and it's open since the internet became so popular with books. Has opened up a whole new market for the electronic, because a lot of people that buy electronically don't necessarily go into bookstores and buy by direct mail and vice versa. And here's a book, How to Publish a Book and Sell 1 million Copies. Big bestseller in the US. You're getting a CD with all that information on it. The $1 Million Copywriting Boot Camp. $1 Million Copywriting Boot Camp is a course that I did, recorded live in the last several months. You get basically a workbook with every word of the seminar, every part, every segment recorded, so that you can use it and reuse it and listen to it the way that all the direct marketers of the world, the Olympic champions, are using this course, that came to the course and or buy the course. And then you have the discs, the CDs with every word recorded, every question, every answer recorded. That normally, people paid over £5,000 to attend the seminar. Normally that's a lot of money. We're offering it here for $397. The 3 books are $29.95 each. And so that's part of the deal there. Okay, I had the workbook. This is the workbook for the Copywriting Bootcamp. The other seminar that's available is the Millionaire Entrepreneur Home Study Course. This is a lot of things you need to know about being an entrepreneur, being a successful entrepreneur, dealing with employees, facts about incorporating, other company structures, what's good, what's bad, a lot of things that we just don't have time to get into in this short time that we're together. And people invested thousands of pounds to go there. I forget, 10,000 pounds. And this is $697 for you. Now, the total of all these, when purchased individually, is $1,183.85, $1,183.85. But I wanted to make a mother of all offers kind of offer for you for today only, that if you want to get everything that I've shown you here, all the study material, and see, you cannot be successful unless you know copywriting. You're going to have to learn it somewhere, either by trial and error or get some course. But what I would recommend to you is, if you like the style that I've shared with you, if you like the style of the copy and you want to learn how to emulate this style until you develop your own style, you've got the copywriting course, you've got the entrepreneur material. And the mother of all offers, I want to give you the boot camp price of $697 for everything that you have here, and it's normally $1,183. So it's for today only. It goes back after today to the normal. The seminar, you can have it individually, but if you want the mother of all offers. Plus, I wanted to add a bonus that I've never added before. The first 77 people that get the mother of all offers today, I will write personally your headline. I will write a headline for one of your products that you choose in the next 6 months. Anytime during the next 6 months, you email me and I email you back a headline. And as I told you, no promises, no guarantees. I can't guarantee the results, but I can tell you that if the headline is on target and you do a good job, you will write the body copy, but the body copy is much easier to write when you've got that lead, isn't it? You've written headlines before, much easier. So I'm going to do that. I can't do that for everybody with 2,600 people, but I can do it for the first 77 people. The staff outside there is going to book the orders, and I'm also going to make myself, a lot of you have asked me to sign workbooks and books and other things that you're carrying, I'm happy to do that out there at the table. And since we didn't have time to get into Q&A sessions, anybody that has any questions of me, I'm happy to do everything I can to help you and answer those questions at that table as well. Okay? So, we're out of time. I wanted to leave you today with a few words that are meaningful to me and you might find meaningful to you. They were written a long time ago by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, who said, "The heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards in the night." Thank you.